We just finished one of the most anticipated days in NBA history, and I'm not only saying it's the most anticipated day in NBA history because Victor Wembanyama was drafted today, which I don't even feel like really going over just because I feel like we already know what there is with him. You know, we already know how he's going to go in the San Antonio Spurs system. We knew how that was going to play out. So I'm just going to jump into the number 2 pick, which is Brandon Miller. I was really disappointed with this pick. I feel like the best thing the Charlotte Hornets could do was take Scoot Henderson. And I understand that you want to draft for fit sometimes. Like with this Hornets team, you don't have much time, right? LaMelo seems to be getting a little bit impatient. You've had a lot of issues with your team. So I feel like they were really nervous when making this decision. They didn't want to take a risk. They didn't want to take someone who they had to maybe move some players around for, or maybe try to make room for when it comes to rotations. So they drafted for fit. And, you know, that is historically known to be bad. Now, I'm not saying that Brandon Miller was a bad pick or that he's a bad player, because he's a great player. He's still my number 2. He'll still have a great NBA career, hopefully. I'm just saying that there are better players, i.e. Scoot Henderson, who could make your team a little bit better, and I feel like could make it better quicker. And I'll get into that when we talk about the Blazers and them actually taking Scoot Henderson. But with the Hornets as well, they wanted to get someone who could shoot, and that's something that you do get in Brandon Miller, and you get that fast. You know, you get someone who can come in and already make an impact in that way of your team, and that's really cool. You know, he doesn't clash with the LaMelo Ball when it comes to positions. That's something that I think they really thought about, and they seem to be really committed to. So yeah, I don't think it's a terrible pick. I don't think it's as bad as a lot of people are making it out to be, because Brandon Miller is still going to be a good player. He's still going to have a good career. I promise you that. It's just that it seems like Scoot Henderson might have a bigger upside. Now, like I said, on to the Portland Trailblazers and their pick with Scoot Henderson. Now, I don't want to sound different. I don't know really how to word this, but I feel like as of right now, when it comes to Victor, a lot of people have this expectation for him that's really high. And I feel like if things don't go according to people's imagination, and if they don't go to the heights that people have set for Victor, Scoot will have a better career. I don't want to sound different. I don't want to sound like I'm just trying to be like some weird, you know, trying to get a crazy take, but I feel like the situation that Scoot is in right now is one of the best ones we've seen. He went through the G League Ignite, which is something that we haven't seen much, and I think that him being there from such a young age and being around already NBA veterans, NBA coaches, NBA leadership, that puts you in a position where you are ready to go. He's ready to play in the NBA today. He's not going to need time to develop as much as another player would, and I think he's just really ready to go. Now, the question is with Portland is, do they trade Damian Lillard? And it sounds crazy because I've seen so many Portland Trailblazers fans completely 180 and say, yep, let's trade Dame. Get out of here, man. We appreciate you for your time. After all he's done for the team, people are still wanting to trade him, and I don't blame them, because if you look at the Portland Trailblazers and their depth chart right now when it comes to their guards, they don't need that many guards. Now, the question is, do you want to keep Anthony Simmons as a backup point guard and have Scoot Henderson be your number 1, or do you want to bury Anthony Simons in the back of the bench? Like, I just don't know how exactly they're going to pull this off without trading someone who is of extreme value. And maybe they do trade Anthony Simons and get a really solid veteran or some sort of leadership piece that's not like a young guy, but I just feel like that's so hard. I just don't see them trading as such a young guy for someone who they can get in return of that value. And I just feel like if there wasn't someone like Scoot Henderson available who already had that kind of NBA leadership and already had that NBA mentality, they would have traded this pick. But with that being said, I feel like it'd be best for them, honestly, to trade Damian Lillard. I think that would be best. You'd get such a good return for him. He's still a great player. You don't want to wait until he's fucking 40 years old and you trade him for a bag of chips, even though the Wizards did just trade a 40-year-old for Jordan Poole, but you know, whatever. So yeah, honestly, I don't think Portland Trailblazers fans would even be upset if you traded Dame and just started a rebuild around Scoot and Anthony Simons. And I mean, I feel like you could build something really solid right now by simply trading away Damian Lillard and getting whatever good package you can get in return, whether that's picks, whether that's another great player that you can put alongside Scoot Henderson. Like, you could do a lot with that. Now, for Amanda and Asar Thompson, both going back to back, this is the first pair of twins we've seen go back to back, and I think the top 10 of the draft, or just be drafted, I think, in top 10 together. So with Amen Thompson, who's going to the Houston Rockets, this is a team that's building something. I feel like Alfred Sengun has been a player who has really gone under the radar, at least during the offseason. A lot of people haven't really thought about him when it comes to the Rockets and what they're trying to build. I just think that there's one thing that they really need, and that's obviously like a well-built roster, because they have a lot of great pieces. I think they really need to make some moves, whether that's trading Jalen Green. I know it sounds crazy, but I feel like you can get a high return for him right now. They need veterans as well. You know, they need players who have been there before, who know what they're doing, because right now their team is young. I mean, they have a young ass team. Now, whether that's veterans that you get through free agency or veterans that you get through trades, they just need veterans in general, and I think that would help this team a lot more. But them having Ime Udoka as their new coach is huge. I mean, that's such a huge thing for them. Great pickup for the Houston Rockets in that situation. But that was some veteran leadership. Alfred Sengun is probably gonna have a great year next year. Jalen Green will hopefully have a good year, and now Amen Thompson, I mean, it's gonna be great out there in Houston. Honestly, most Texas teams like really did their thing in this year's draft. Dallas Mavericks had a bunch of of trades and stuff that happened. And I mean, Houston is doing great with their picks. I mean, we'll talk about their number 20 pick because that's just crazy. And now I'm Thompson. I mean, shit, Texas did their thing. And now it's Star Thompson, who is going to the Detroit Pistons. Not gonna lie, didn't expect them to go back to back. Detroit's another team now that has another great piece to their team. They have Jaden Ivey, Cade Cunningham, and now it's Star Thompson. It'll be interesting to see how they can put all those players together in this situation and see what they can do with it. I still don't think that this Pistons team is good enough to like make a run for anything, like maybe a play-in team at most. Hopefully they prove me wrong in that situation though, because I'd love to see Star Thompson go crazy. But yeah, I just don't see them being like a well-built team right now. Like they still just feel kind of sloppy and young and all over the place, where I feel like the Rockets still have a little bit of more structure. Although Monty Williams will be coaching the Pistons, so that is really nice for them. That's a huge bonus. Someone who went to the finals recently, so hopefully he can come in with some leadership and some big roles and really do a lot for that team in the rookie and now in Star Thompson. Now, like I said earlier, the other thing I wanted to go over was Cam Whitmore dropping all the way down to 20. This is someone who was expected to be a top 5 pick in a lot of mock drafts. I thought at first this was an injury thing, and I saw a lot of people say something about his knees or that overall he was just injury prone, and that's something that really steered teams away from him, especially having a lottery pick. Like, you don't want that on your team. But then you hear Woj say that he just had a lot of bad workouts and bad interviews, which is something I don't see being real. Like, how could a bad interview steer you from being the 5th pick to the 20th? Brandon Miller had his fair share of crazy shit and he still went 2. You know what I mean? So like, I don't know exactly how that worked. I think it's injury stuff. I think he's just really injury prone, which is something obviously that's still not good. But if you're at the 20 spot, you take that. You take that at the 15 spot. You take that at the maybe 13 spot, to be honest. But he slid down a lot more than we thought he would. I honestly wanted him to slide all the way down to 24 for the Kings, but he didn't quite make it there. I mean, apparently the Houston Rockets were trying to trade up from like 20 to 16, 17, 18, 19. They wanted him because this is someone that they were projected to get in mock drafts for their 5th pick, and they got him all the way down to 20. I mean, that's just crazy. That is a steal of the draft. Hopefully he can stay healthy. Hopefully we don't see anything that's different or weird in the summer league or something that the GM saw that we didn't. Like, hopefully everything's good and they can get just another star player, because that is someone who has gone from top of the draft, I mean lottery pick, to now being an underrated pick in the draft, or like someone that I feel like not many people will think about because they don't think of him as being a top 5 pick. With that being said, today was also very sad for me because Chris Middleton is not a Sacramento King. I don't know what drugs I was taking when I was recording this, but I obviously meant Chris Murray, not Chris Middleton. I'm just sorry about that. The Portland Trailblazers just absolutely came in and dropped their big dangling balls in front of Monty McNair and said, fuck you. And they took Chris Middleton, which really sucked. Once again, don't know why I said Chris Middleton. Just ignore it at this point. As a Kings fan myself, I wanted to see the two twins play together, but you know what? It's okay because now we have a little fun little rivalry. Okay, Portland Trailblazers. So fuck you guys. We have a little rivalry now, okay? Twin rivalry. Let's do it. And as a Kings fan, it also didn't help to see that right after the Portland Trailblazers selected Chris Murray, the Kings said, you know what? We don't feel like doing this draft thing. And they went away and threw Rashawn Holmes and their 24th pick to the Dallas Mavericks for, I don't even know what we know. I don't even know if we know what we got, actually. I would assume just like a protected first round pick. It was mainly a salary dump. I feel like the Kings though made this move after seeing Chris Murray go, or maybe someone else that they wanted even more go earlier on in the draft. And although it hurt to sit there for 2 hours and watch this draft, waiting for the Kings to pick someone, waiting to see who the next king would be, and ended up not having anyone, it was good because we got to dump a lot of our salary. Now, the main reason why the Kings ended up doing this trade was because they basically paid the Dallas Mavericks the 24th pick in exchange for taking Rashawn Holmes' terrible contract, which I feel like Rashawn Holmes would still be great for the Mavericks. Like, he's a great player. I've said a lot of my videos that I want to see him thrive in another place because he just doesn't fit with the Kings right now. But with this room now that the Kings have salary wise, they can sign someone like a Kyle Kuzma, maybe a Chris Middleton, in my fucking dreams. So we could see a Sacramento Kings team later this year with Kyle Kuzma, and if they still make the move, maybe OG Anunoby. Like, we don't know. We know for sure that Pascal Siakam is off the table, with him saying that he would opt out of his contract if he was traded. So he's off the table, which I'm not going to lie, I was okay with. I feel like we weren't going to get Pascal either way unless we gave up Keegan, which I still stand by saying, do not trade anyone if it has Keegan Murray in it. Do not do it. Now, the Kings did not leave the draft empty-handed, though, with them getting Jay Slauson. Not going to lie, not familiar with him at all, so I do apologize for that. But I am going to support him now forever. You know, I'm going to follow him right now on Twitter, as I have more followers than him. Wow, that's crazy. Maybe this will age like insanely right now. Oh, he hasn't used Twitter since 2019. With that being said, though, it was a crazy NBA draft. We saw a lot of talent go through to different teams, as we usually do. Let me know down below in the comments if your team did have a good draft this year. Did they do good? Did they fumble? What did they do? But yeah, like I said, let me know in the comments what you think. How did your team do? And yeah, I'll see you guys all next video. I'm sorry for the lighting for being so bad. I'm on a really scuffed setup right now, but I'm trying my best out here. We're still pushing out content, okay? So yeah, I'll see you guys all next video. Be sure to like and subscribe. Click the video up on the screen if you did enjoy, and I'll see you guys all next video. Later.